You eat raw cow liver.
That's 4 years doing it this way, strict.
So you're the real liver king, man.
I believe that everyone's life would be easier and the world would be a better place if everyone ate beef liver.
There's a study that shows direct link between red meat and cancer.
They're all BS.
Ivo Suvee, world-renowned biohacker.
Known for dedicating his life and making each and every part of his body perfect.
Do you not ever have the urge to, I'd love a chicken wrap, I'd love a burger from McDonald's?
3, 4, 5 years ago, I would get an urge every now and then. I would eat some extra beef, urge is gone.
If there's somebody not waking up with erections, what's the quick fix that they can do? Really? Ivo.
Radin,
What's going on, my brother?
what's going on is great that I just arrived in Dubai and I'm enjoying it already.
You've come on such a hot day as well, but you're loving it.
Yes, it's a free sauna.
Yeah, it literally is a free sauna. I was walking last night and it literally felt like a free sauna all the time here. Who are you?
My name is Ivo and I run a beef organ supplement company. My idea with the beef organ supplement company was when I had the revelation that I believe that everyone's life would be easier and the world would be a better place if everyone ate beef liver. Liver in general, but beef liver in particular.
And you eat it raw.
I do.
You eat raw red meat, red
Yes.
red meat, but raw cow liver.
Yes.
Why don't you cook it?
So as a child, my 3 favorite dishes were blood sausage, cooked, beef liver and onions, cooked, and beef tongue, also cooked. And as I got older, I actually noticed at the end of my 20s that there's these group of people, they call them carnivores, and a lot of them eat their beef liver raw. And when I first heard about it, I was like, okay, let me try this. But the way I actually tried it is by grounding the beef liver raw into my ground beef. So in Belgium, we have these dishes called steak tartare, Américain préparé, Américain nature. It's basically raw ground beef with salt, sometimes with spices, sometimes with sauces, and onions, capers, parsley, and all those things. And as I was traveling a lot, I didn't have the time to prepare it every single day. I would prepare it in batches. And over time, I just started removing ingredients. Each ingredient is saved up time until it was just salt and raw beef. And then during the lockdowns, I went to visit my grandmother. I decided to live with her for 3 months, and I bought this big, beautiful meat grinder. And I was like, okay, I've been eating ground beef. I want to go to the next level, try the next step. The next experiment in my life was adding in more organs. So started in grounding the beef liver raw, spleen raw, kidney raw, and also changing the ratios. In the beginning, more ground beef, and after a while, 50-50. Until today that I traveled to Bulgaria, I didn't bring my meat grinder. I did bring a whole bunch of organs, and I was sitting there at the Airbnb like, I don't know really how to cook these things. So I could just continue eating them raw, but this time in their pieces instead of grinding them up. And I did that. I remember the first time I had just beef liver that day. I ate nothing else. I ate beef liver, took a small piece, was like, texture is a little weird. There's no real flavor. Flavor's kind of okay. I guess I got used to the raw flavor by grinding it in the ground beef. And about 2 hours later, I'm walking in the street. I think I came back from a shop, and all of a sudden I noticed my vision widen up. All colors become more vibrant, like upgrading from full HD to 8K or 4K. And I knew when I get home, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go to my to-do list, I need to do these tasks, I'm going to do them this way. It was like such a mental clarity, and just from food. And that's when I was convinced, this is something else, this is next level. It's interesting that I only had this from eating the beef liver raw by itself without the ground beef. I have no real explanation for that, but I assume maybe if I'm eating a kilo of ground beef, it takes the time to digest. You don't have that peak of the liver with it. And eating the liver by itself, it digests really fast, really smooth. And yeah, since then it's been a staple of my diet.
So you're the real liver king, man.
Thank you. Yeah, people have called me the real liver king.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm not the first.
Yes.
How long have you been on this diet for?
I would say in 2018 or 19, already half of my diet was raw ground beef, or maybe even 60-70% of my diet was raw ground beef. The rest mainly fruits. And when I started adding in the raw beef liver and the organs, and I cut out all vegetables, no more vegetables, it was in 2020. So that's 4 years doing it this way, strict. I still have fruit most of the days, almost every single day. I did low fruit or no fruit for a while, but I've noticed life is just better with sweet, tasty fruit.
So what's your day-to-day diet right now? Tell me a typical day in your life, diet-wise.
Diet-wise, I wake up, let's say, anywhere between 5:30 to 7:30 a.m., depending where I am in the world. It aligns with the circadian rhythm, with the sun. Then about 4 hours later, anywhere between 10 to 11:30, I have my first meal, and I always start my first meal with just liver. About anywhere between 200 to 400 grams of raw liver. I'll usually add half a kilo, so that's 1 pound more or less of raw ground beef with salt. And then I have that meal again later today, or I have that 3 times. But instead of liver, I will have kidney or I will have heart. So usually eating about 1.5 to 2 kilos of raw beef a day.
Wow. That's it.
That's it.
And you've been doing this for 4 years.
Yes. And usually at the end of the day, at my last meal, I will have maybe 3 bananas frozen. I like them frozen. They taste like ice cream. Or grapes, also frozen.
Frozen grapes are right.
Yes. Or watermelon juice,
Yeah.
pomegranate juice.
Yeah.
Those are my staples.
Yeah, I like frozen grapes. Are you single?
At the moment, I am single, yes.
When you go on a date with a girl in a restaurant, what happens? Beef tartare.
I actually never go on a date in a restaurant. I either go for a coffee, a drink. I usually drink water. She can drink whatever she wants to drink. I don't really notice anything weird about it. Let's say 15 to 20 years ago, I would go on a date and maybe the girl would be like, oh, you're boring, not drinking alcohol. But now I'm more picky who I go out on a date with. So by the time I go on the date, they've already went through a few of my texting, a few of my, how do you call them? Yes or no questions to see, does it even make sense to meet up with this woman? And usually I meet up with women who are agreeable, submissive, who are nice and fun. They don't really do any like shit talks, the way people call them. So I never have any issues about that I'm not drinking or anything like that. You know? And I have a lot of stories to tell, so that makes them realize that it's not boring at all.
I've stopped drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
Right, it's been like 6 months now.
Cool.
How long has it been for you?
So the first time I quit alcohol completely was in 2007 for about 6 months. And I remember having a sip then and like feeling how thoroughly, like how strong, and I remember having a sip then and I understood how strongly it affected me. And since then I will drink maybe 2 times a year, 3 times a year tops. So usually every 6 months or 5 months I'll have a drink. What I usually do is 2 or 3 shots of vodka and that's it, done for the evening.
Did you have raw meat this morning?
Yes. Interestingly enough, I couldn't find anything quick from the airport. My flight was delayed. I don't have my luggage. I just went to the Carrefour downstairs at the hotel. I found ground lamb raw, and that's what I ate with my salt.
Wow.
And I had 3 organic dates, which is also a fruit. So.
Wow. Okay. Do you want some gum?
If I want
Do you
some
chew gum?
I usually don't chew gum.
You don't chew gum, okay.
Yours smells really nice.
Is it? Okay. No, because I can smell the raw meat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Do
that's
you want
why.
me to have
Is
some
that
gum?
okay?
Of course.
It's actually making me a little bit sick.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry.
And then we're talking about raw meat and I'm like, oh, I'm getting a little bit sick.
It might be the lamb or the quality of the lamb.
No, you know what? It's in my head.
Oh, that's actually
It's in my head.
very interesting that you bring this up.
Yeah.
So this makes me think, for example, the fact I don't use deodorant, don't use shampoos, don't use soaps. And the one thing I learned with women, for example, you can't say this in advance. So what I sometimes do with women,
Yeah, true.
I tell them, "Do I smell bad?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, you smell great.
Yeah,
You smell
yeah.
delicious." Oh, good to know.
Yeah.
Then after whatever happens in the bedroom or anywhere
Yeah.
else, and maybe it comes up organically. I don't bring it out, but it comes up organic. I go, "Oh no, I don't use shampoo." I'm like, what? Yeah, I haven't used shampoo in 15 years. What? Yeah, no deodorant either. I mean, I don't have perfume.
They don't
on,
even
right?
realize.
They don't realize. That's why I always tell them after.
And
because
you
if
don't
I
have
tell them up front, their mind starts playing tricks on them.
For me, because we're talking about this,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe, like, and then I think it's my mind. I think it's my mind. Anyways,
Recently,
what about perfume?
perfume? I don't use perfume
Either. Okay.
because there's fragrance in perfume, obviously. And fragrance is actually by law in the US especially, it's a denominator for about 100 different chemicals that can be in there and are labeled as perfume. The vast majority of them are xenoestrogens. So
Wow.
it's basically female hormone, estrogen. And people are putting that on their body.
Wow. What about oud? Dubai oud.
I don't know what that is.
It's like it's from wood.
So I love something like that, something ancestral. The thing is nowadays, a lot of big companies, they hijack these ancestral things. So maybe the old oud was just wood, great thing for humans, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of the most sold oud components nowadays, you look at the ingredients, the fourth or fifth ingredient will be fragrance, and that's how they get you.
Got ya.
Yeah.
I've got oud here actually, and it's the oil.
Okay,
It's just oil based. So you take it out and you put the oil on your thing, and it's hot. When it goes in your skin, it gets hot. I don't know why. That's probably not
interesting.
good. It can't be good. Do you drink coffee?
Once every 2 months or once a month or so.
Wow.
The thing about coffee, it works amazingly. I like how it feels. I like how it works, give you that boost of energy. I don't like being dependent on something, or I don't like the feeling I don't like to get addicted to something. For example, my grandmother drinks coffee every day and she says, "Oh, is coffee healthy or not healthy?" I say, "It's healthy. Keep drinking your coffee." But she says, "Oh, coffee does nothing to me. I can have a coffee in the afternoon and still sleep great." But a lot of people, when they use coffee every single day, you actually get less of the benefits. That's how I feel.
Yes.
Like if you drink it every day, then now you're just drinking a coffee to feel normal.
Yeah.
You don't have that boost from it.
Yeah. What about parasites? Because you're eating it raw, it's not being cooked. Have you had any gut health issues or anything like that?
Never. And in fact, that's a part of my journey why beef was so good for me. I noticed the more ground beef I ate, whether it was cooked in the beginning or whether it was raw, the more ground beef I ate, I noticed the better my stool was. And especially when cutting out all vegetables and the fiber, they run a number on me. I can tell, I can see it in my stool. It made me bloated back in the day. I noticed the more beef I eat, my gut feels amazing. And in fact, when eating it raw, for example, if I would have 1 kilo of beef cooked, after I'll be full, I would feel full. I'll be like, oh, I have to sit for a moment. But if I eat the same amount completely raw, I can go to the gym right away.
Wow.
I could even run 5 kilometers, no problem. So it just sits perfectly. I don't even feel it digesting. And to me, it would make no sense that we're the only species on the planet that has to cook their food. And I'm wondering, is it because we forgot how humans are supposed to eat?
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. Could you kill an animal and eat it?
If I could kill it, probably. I've
could?
never killed an animal yet. I don't
Okay.
think I would have an issue with it. I remember about 20 years ago, I was in Lima, Peru. I had a girlfriend at the time. I was staying with her and her parents. And the mom was gonna kill a chicken, cut its throat. I was like, oh, can I do it? And she said, sure. And she gave me a chicken. I started, but the knife wasn't that sharp. So I'm cutting, but nothing's happening. And the mom just was instantly like, oh, let me do it. Turned the chicken around, and with one fell swoop, boom, the chicken lost its head. I remember thinking, oh, it was a little tougher than I thought it would be. This was before I started weightlifting, so maybe, I was just not strong enough.
No. Well, maybe it was also technique because she was an older woman. So I
Yes,
think you would have
exactly.
definitely been strong enough.
Exactly. Maybe I thought it would, like in the movies, things go really smooth. They'd be like in the Middle Ages, they're fighting with swords and everything, just hacking off limbs like in one fell swoop. But the reality is not the same.
You know, if everything was to finish tomorrow and I was the only person on Earth, let's say I'm the only person on Earth tomorrow, I wouldn't know how to survive. I wouldn't know. I don't think I have the heart to kill an animal, to then cut it up, to then cook it. But you would survive. You would thrive.
I would love to say yes, and I believe, of course, I would survive. Yet, I do acknowledge that hunting is not an easy task. A lot of animals are really hard to kill. Like, they would not just let us kill them. They would beat us, they would kick, they would run, they would fight.
But you would find a way.
Yeah, I would find a way.
If we were back 500, 1,000 years ago, even more, and we were the village, 1,000 years ago, maybe 3,000 years ago, we were village. You know how there's still some mountains, some islands in the Amazon or whatever, and there's still village, and there's still tribal village people. If we go back to those days, you would be probably the king of the community.
Thank you very much.
Don't you think so?
Yeah.
You'd be the leader. You'd be the leader.
I'd show them the way. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Can you start a fire?
I haven't started the fire, and maybe, I don't really remember, but I might have started the fire with a group of friends, like when I was 12 years old.
Okay.
It's a little vague. I remember the leaders, they were showing us how to start a fire. I don't know if we, the kids, actually started it. So I do remember from a documentary how they do it, and they need a lot of patience and a lot of dry, like coconut fiber, apparently burns really well.
There's a video of you on Instagram where you have a jar in the back of a car and it's just strips of raw meat, and you're just getting it out and you're just eating it, right?
It's a beef kidney.
That was beef kidneys.
And it was actually a little stuck in the jar.
It was. I saw you struggling a little bit. You're like shaking it. I saw that. Do you not ever have the urge to like, I'd love a chicken wrap. I'd love a steak, Wagyu, beef, whatever. I'd love a burger from McDonald's. Do you ever get urges about food?
Let's say about 3, 4, 5 years ago, I would get an urge every now and then. And this was actually a naturopathic doctor who told me this. Whenever you feel the urge to eat something, eat meat. A lot of times you grab the sweets, we grab whether it's fruit or other sweets, candy. I noticed many times when I had an urge back then, I would eat some extra beef, urge is gone. So a lot of times the urge comes from our body desiring more amino acids. And beef is very abundant in amino acids, one of the best sources of amino acids. So I think a lot of the urges back then came from maybe a small nutrient deficiency, especially when people eating a lot of processed foods, they get more of those urges. But over the time now, I can see people eating pizza or other stuff that I might have liked as a child. It does absolutely nothing for me, no craving whatsoever.
No.
And if I have a sweet craving, I'll just eat some frozen grapes. They're delicious.
Wow.
You know this.
Yeah, of course. I love frozen grapes. So you can very easily go to a birthday party. It's your friend's birthday party. They've got cake, whatever, and you will sit there, high five, I hope you have a good birthday, and you will not touch cake, you won't touch any bread, you won't touch any cooked meat, nothing.
And actually, even as a child, I didn't really like cake that much. I didn't like how it got stuck in my teeth. And usually you have a little bit of an aftertaste after the cake. So even as a child, I tended more towards fruits or even chocolatey things. I do like those. But a lot of the cakes nowadays that I even see at birthday parties, they have a lot of that fluff that I don't really like. I like merengues when I was a child. I like merengue. I like the chocolate flakes on top. I like the whipped cream. Then again, whipped cream is very healthy.
No.
But again, the whipped cream that we find in the grocery store, they hijacked it. When you look at the ingredients, there's all these other ingredients. I don't need those. But if we buy our own heavy cream, put it in a whipped cream dispenser with some gas, you don't even need sugar in it. It tastes delicious.
And so you have that?
Yes, I have that every now and then.
Okay.
I don't do dairy that much. I do notice it tends to clog up my nose a little bit. It promotes more mucus. But yeah, like 3-4 times a year. I have kefir, milk, raw dairy, cheese, and heavy cream. Yeah.
How old are you?
43.
Wow. Do you have any kids?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Work in progress.
Work in progress. Have you done health exams and full health checkups and seen the benefits?
Yes. So my blood work is always very good, and my testosterone is on the high end. I remember the first time I had my testosterone checked, I was 34 something, and it was in the 800, 900 range. And nowadays that's supposedly on the high end, but in the days of our grandfathers, all men had this type of testosterone between 750 and 1500. And since then I've done a few of them, and it's always in the high range, like 800, 900. Except once I did a fight camp, a professional fight camp, 2 workouts a day, 5 or 6 times a week for, I believe, 5 to 6 weeks. After the fight camp, and even though I won my fight, like a week after, my testosterone was like 700, because it's a lot of cardio, it's a lot of endurance. In general, endurance is not really that good for testosterone. Another note is, for example, my cholesterol. My cholesterol is sky high. And there's this thing called, I believe it is cholesterol hyperresponder. Cholesterol is actually needed to make sex hormones, including testosterone and other hormones. So people who have low cholesterol, they usually have low testosterone as well. And this whole paradigm about cholesterol being bad and cholesterol being the cause of cardiovascular disease, this is all false. Now, more and more scientists are discovering that high cholesterol is actually associated with high age, long living, and also a high IQ.
Wow.
Exactly. So cholesterol, without cholesterol, no one can live. It's actually so essential for the body that even if we don't eat any foods that make cholesterol, the body produces anywhere between 3 to 4 grams of cholesterol every single day.
Wow. So your sex drive right now is just as if it was when you were 20?
Yes. I would say it's not like I was when I was 16, but it was definitely like the way, like 20, 24, around that. Yes.
Sure. So it hasn't changed?
No.
Which usually for a 43-year-old, it should be changing. It should be going down.
That's what I hear. It's actually a good marker of also cardiovascular health if men are waking up in the morning with boners or having boners throughout the nights. And this usually actually happens in the REM stage of sleep.
Wow.
So in the dreaming state. I forgot the exact mechanism, but that's actually the body doing a checkup. Everything's working the way it's supposed to work. Also in the middle of the night is when we get a testosterone peak.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So getting an erection, getting a boner, it's a sign of good cardiovascular health.
Yes.
Interesting. So if you don't get one, especially at night when you're sleeping.
Yes, exactly.
So if you don't get one, you got to get your heart checked.
Yes, and like especially nowadays, I hear sometimes from people they're in their 20s, like in the morning. I don't wake up with an erection. Like you got to.
In their 20s.
Yes, I hear that a lot nowadays.
So what is that linking to? Stress? Because a lot of erection stuff I find from the research I've read is to do with mental.
Well, there's the thing like performance anxiety. Like if a man doesn't perform with one woman or doesn't perform the way he would like to perform, like it can lead to overthinking. And now it's a rabbit hole. Like a lot of it is mental, exactly. But if someone does not get an erection in the morning, that's not the mental part. That's really physical part. The body should be working at that time. That's the way people wake up. In the middle of the night, you wake up, you have an erection, it's very normal. So if that's lacking, then it's not a mental issue. Then it's physical or cardiovascularly.
Issue.
Yeah.
Okay. If you like this video, consider subscribing. We do weekly podcasts with experts in every industry to help you find direction and guide you on your way. Now let's get back into it. Were you a soldier?
No, I wasn't a soldier.
You weren't
I didn't go to the army. I couldn't because of my hearing.
Okay.
So it's easy to say when I'm in my teens, I'm watching these action movies, you glorify the army, you want to go to the army, and my stepdad saying, you can't go because you have a hearing impairment. I never applied, so I don't even know if it would be true or not. I assume so. Belgium also doesn't really have a big army or anything. There's usually quite some professional soldiers there, but yeah, Belgium doesn't really do much army-wise.
So, okay, all right. Okay, so you're hearing you were born with?
We don't actually know. So it was first discovered when I was 5 years old. I woke up completely deaf. And my mom told me, I don't remember anything of this. My mom told me I woke up at 5, being 5 years old, completely deaf one morning, screaming, I can't hear, I can't hear. 2 weeks before that, I had the flu. And my mom sent me to the doctor, and maybe the doctor gave me antibiotics, we don't know. But there are antibiotics, especially in the 80s, that can make people completely deaf. And slowly, over the next 2 or 3 weeks, my hearing came back a little bit in my right ear. Could have been since birth that there was already a hearing deficit, maybe, but we don't really know.
And this is probably something to do with the inner ear.
It's the nerve.
The nerve.
So apparently, especially on the left side, the nerve is dead.
Got ya.
So it's like the left ear is in a wheelchair, or something
Sure.
like that.
Is there no surgery you could do?
What maybe people mostly talk about is like the implants. I see the implants, well, they're technology. Technology breaks down. So that means every time I have something wrong with the implant, that's another surgery. So I don't even want to start down that rabbit hole. I feel like I'm used to it. It's been a blessing in disguise. Because when you don't hear well, especially as a child, you're more in your own world and the possibilities are bigger. Because no one's telling you, no, you can't do that, or no, this isn't for you. You already did it. You didn't really pay attention, live a little bit in your own world. I would also like to say that make me more fine-tuned to people's body language. Many times from the get-go, I know like, there's something off with this person, maybe I don't want to be around this person, and later I hear some negative aspects about this person. I'm like, oh, I'm glad I didn't get involved. Yeah.
So that's really grown your intuition.
Exactly.
It's funny you say this because I also tell this story. I feel like my intuition is really good with people because I'm from Iran originally. When I was born there, we left at 5 years old to go to Australia, and I went and they put me straight into school. No English, nothing. I would go to the toilets and people would yell at me, and I'm like, "What are you yelling at me about?" Because I was in the girls' toilets. I have no idea. I don't know the sign. I can't read nothing. So for 2-3 years, while I was trying to learn English as a 5-year-old. I use my intuition and body language to understand people.
Yes.
So that's something that relates to me as well, actually. Okay, so tell me who you are. So tell me, you finished. Let's start from the very beginning. I want to know what industry you're in, what jobs you've done, what specialty you have. So what did you do after high school?
I learned how to build a website. So at 21 years old, I was in university studying economics, but it didn't really interest me that much. So I built a website, and once I had a website, I got into affiliate marketing. I left the website making business to the side, and I focused on selling other people's products and promoting affiliate products and basically gaining 50-60% commission on sales. And then with the money that I made in that over the years, I don't really partake in that as much anymore. I focused on the health aspects, on starting the beef organ supplements company. And also more and more, what my friends keep telling me is to become more of a personality on social media.
Definitely.
Because all these things I do, none of them are staged. This is just literally me going about my day, and one of my friends being like, I need to capture this moment. People need to see who Ivo is. And many times people told me, you need to write a book, or because I have these insights. The thing that I'm working on more explicitly is understanding that other people don't have the same views as I, and that there's value in my views. Because for me, it's just everyday life. For me, it's almost common sense. So relating to other people is something over the years I've practiced more and more, how to relate to people, what people have an issue with. A lot of people, they have empathy, a lot of empathy, which is good, but it can also hold them back. Because now they're thinking, what will people think of me? What will my parents think? What will my family think? Instead of just leading their own life and building themselves into the man who they want to be. So, yes.
So, after the website, you go into affiliate marketing.
Yes.
After that, what did you do?
The beef organ supplement company.
And when was this? When did you start the beef supplement company?
This is about 3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with the beef supplement company, is it capsules with raw meat in it?
Yes,
That's it.
It's raw meat that is freeze dried.
Ah.
So technically, you could say it's not raw, but actually it is raw because it's never been cooked. It's been dried, but the freeze dry process actually preserves a lot of the nutrients.
I see.
So this is just in the capsules. There's food. A lot of people, they don't want to eat liver. They
Yeah,
don't want to
of
eat
course.
beef brain, all these organs,
Yeah.
but they see the value that these organs provide.
Yeah.
There's a lot of native cultures around the world who believe like whatever organ you want to improve in your body, that's the organ that you eat from the animal.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to get a better eyesight, eat eyes. You want to have more heart, more cardio, eat beef heart. That's
Interesting.
someone wants more testosterone, he can eat beef testicles.
Testicles. Wow. Okay, so is that company up and running,
Yes.
operational? I can buy right now
Yes,
online
exactly.
and ship to Dubai.
Everywhere.
Now, if it's shipped to Dubai, it's hot, it's in a truck, whatever. Does it not become not eatable because it's raw meat in the heat?
I haven't heard anything about that being the case.
Okay.
I also assume that a lot of trucks, I mean, I don't know what the temperature in the trucks would be. And also, in general, they're not going to be in the truck for long.
Okay.
Maybe one day. Well, it's not going to go bad in one day. It's not even going to go bad probably in a week or weeks or months. And people don't need to refrigerate them at all because the freeze drying process, the result of it is you can just keep it in the cupboard at room temperature.
So you can keep it on the cupboard, it doesn't need to be in the fridge.
Exactly.
But probably better to be in the fridge.
I mean, and also it's fresh. I feel like it's fresher.
Yeah.
Not fresher, but like just the texture of a cold capsule.
Yeah,
It's just more enjoyable than
Yeah.
a warm capsule.
yeah, of course.
A friend of mine who's also the co-owner of me and the Beef Organ Supplement Company, his daughter is 1.5 years old and starting like a few months, maybe 7, 8 or 9 months old, she ate the beef capsules. So she doesn't even swallow them. She eats them like candy.
Wow.
And she
chews
doesn't
it.
stop. She would eat a whole bottle by herself.
She chews it.
To choose it. So since I saw her doing this, I said, babies know best. So I also started chewing them.
Wow. And if I'm hungry and I have 3 capsules, will it fill me up?
No, it's not really a replacement for a real meal. It wouldn't have enough calories for a real meal. One of those bottles has 180 capsules. 180 capsules is about the equivalent, out of the top of my head, of about 3 steaks of liver. So technically there's 3 meals in there, but
Okay.
no one's gonna consume like 1 bottle every 3 days to get to his meal replacement. So it's more like an add-on because of all the nutrients, all the vitamins that are in beef organs. You have your real meal, then you have a few capsules, like 6 capsules. I do easily 10, 15 capsules as an extra on top of my meal.
Do you have honey?
I eat honey sometimes.
You eat honey sometimes?
Yes. Personally, there's only a few honeys that I eat. And just like with milk, I've noticed that honey sometimes clogs my nose a bit.
Got ya.
And there's this thing called salicylates. And salicylate is a natural plant defense mechanism. So plants make these substances to protect themselves from predators like insects. And salicylates are concentrated usually in honey because you have these bees pollinating all these fruits. And supposedly, according to my DNA, I might have a salicylate sensitivity. So if I eat a lot of foods that are high in salicylates, I can feel it in my joints a bit. My nose will have like build a bit more mucus and be more stuffed. So I'd rather not.
Because I have a gift for you today, and it's honey. Because in Australia, in Dubai, you don't find great honey. It's very syrupy. It's very
Okay.
mixed with sugar. Shaq, can you give me the bag? And I have organic Jarrah honey for you from
Amazing.
Australia. I want you. I usually give this at the end of every podcast, but I want to give this to you now just to see what you think. Yep, take
amazing.
this.
Thank you
this
so
is
much.
raw bioactive honey.
Wow.
Have a look. Take it out. I want you to tell me what you think. Would this be something that you could eat?
It looks really high quality.
It's organic, fresh honey from Australia.
Yes.
It's very dense.
Yeah, it looks very dense, very
Yeah.
dark colored.
Yeah, very dense. Let me know how you go. Let me know if you get any reactions with this.
Okay, I'll be very interested to try this. Thank you so much. I
Of course,
appreciate it.
of course,
You're
my
a great
brother.
host.
Of course, I appreciate you. Now we're gonna get a coffee.
Okay.
Okay, so the hosting will continue. Do you want a coffee?
I'll have a
A black
coffee.
coffee.
because
Have a
I
black
only-
coffee with
yeah,
me.
because like I said, I will have a coffee once a month, every 2 months.
Yeah.
And now is a great day because I only slept 3 hours.
Yeah.
Don't have my luggage.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had like
You've
a
been
very short
traveling
layover. We had to run from
Yeah.
one plane to the next to make it.
in Istanbul.
Yes, we did.
Shaq, what would you like? Water?
I'll have
What would
an
you-
espresso, please.
Just an espresso, hot one. Hi, how are
They
you?
do cold espressos?
Yeah, you want an Americano, a long one, so
No.
you keep drinking?
No,
No.
just an espresso. Thank
Do you
very
do
much.
cold espressos?
Yes, ice espresso, single, double.
Double?
Double espresso.
One bottle of water,
Okay,
and I'll get a iced Americano
okay.
with honey and a little bit of milk.
Sure.
Shaq, this is for you. Thank you. Oh, no, it's okay. Here you go, Shaq.
Espresso.
Cold one, yeah?
Right.
Thank
you very
wow,
much.
that is nice.
Thank you, appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much. Is
The-
there your drinks?
The Liver King. The Liver King.
Yes.
Is everything all right today?
Everything is great.
The
Thank
weekend
you.
is starting?
That's right. That's right. Take care. Have a good weekend.
Yeah. You
Ciao.
too, sir.
See you.
Are you coming tomorrow?
No podcast tomorrow. No, I'm flying to Italy tomorrow.
Oh, you're flying.
So yeah, no podcast until 1 week.
Okay, so
Yeah.
hopefully we will see you after 1 week.
See you soon.
See you.
All right.
sir.
Take care. Ciao.
Take care.
Have a great
safe
day.
flight.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. We always come here.
That's nice.
We always come here. So there's one thing that comes to my mind. That,
put it here?
yeah, of course. You can put this in the door there if you like. Oh, you finished it.
Yeah.
You're an animal. Okay, so there's something that comes into my mind. There's a study that shows cancer.
Okay.
There's a direct link between red meat and cancer. Does that bother you? What do you think of that? What's your opinion on that?
A lot of those studies. So, for example, the name of my company is No BS.
Oh,
No
wow.
bullshit.
Good name.
And now let me get back to the question. A lot of these studies saying that meat causes cancer, they're all BS. It's a lot of confounding variables. There's a lot of bias. A lot of studies in Asia, for example, where only wealthy people or mostly wealthy people eat meat, notice that eating meat is associated with longevity. Does that mean Asians have different genes than us? No, it doesn't. It's the bias. The local bias in Asia is when you're wealthy, you can afford more meat, and wealthy people live longer. In a lot of these studies, they ask people, what did you eat today? What did you eat yesterday? Is that a typical day in your life? And they extrapolate it to their whole lifespan. A lot of people in the West who are, let's say, health aware, they do a lot of behaviors that can prolong life. For example, no smoking, no drinking, no driving motorcycles, not showing any risky behavior. So all these variables work together, and in a lot of these studies, we don't actually know, is it the meat making them live longer, or is it the fact that not eating the meat is making them live longer, or is it the fact that they're not smoking that makes them live longer? There's a few studies where they actually looked at eating meat by itself, and there was no negative effect, and in some of those studies even a beneficial effect, as opposed to people who eat a lot of vegetables. There's also no real money in promoting beef or showing people that beef is healthy. People love eating beef, people love eating meat. If you see all the marketing that went towards promoting plant-based burgers, plant-based beef, and they still crash. The stock still crash. People don't want to eat that. People inherently know that beef is good for them. My grandmother, she's 87 years old. She still eats raw meat at least twice a week.
Wow.
To this
In a
day.
capsule?
No, she eats the ground beef, like the steak tartare.
Yeah. Got ya. What's your relationship like with tobacco?
It's an interesting one. So there are some studies that show that nicotine not smoking, but actually using nicotine either topically in a patch or orally in chewing gum is associated with reducing the risk for Alzheimer or reducing the symptoms of Alzheimer, dementia, and other cognitive decline diseases. And recently, for about 2-3 months, I have experimented with a nicotine patch. I don't smoke cigarettes, but let's say once a month or twice a month, I will smoke cigars. And you absorb the nicotine through your gums when you smoke cigars. I think over time it will show that nicotine is more and more beneficial. Already now we have a lot of data that supports this. And a lot of the negative effects of smoking might just be the pesticides that they spray on the tobacco, all the flavor enhancers that they put in cigarettes, all these other chemical compounds that are being put onto fire and then you inhale them in your lungs. You know? Yeah, smoke damage is a real thing. So you don't want to be inhaling the smoke from a fire. So you don't really want to inhale the smoke of a cigarette deep into your lungs. But nicotine by itself, I'm convinced it's good. It's good for cognitive performance and staving off some of the age-related decline in cognitive function.
Speaking about pesticides and nicotine, given your diet, have you ever gotten food poisoning from your diet? In the last 4 years of eating raw meat, have you ever gotten food poisoning?
The last time I had food poisoning that I actually remember was about 20 years ago when I had a pizza that got cold and then heated again in Lima, Peru. And ever since, I haven't got food poisoning once.
So eating a raw meat diet does not give you food poisoning?
And even buying raw meat in regular supermarkets, it's not organic, it's not grass-fed, grass-finished. It's still really good beef to eat. Yeah. A lot of people get food poisoning actually from salmonella that's on lettuce. A lot of vegetables are not that clean or they've been washed with water that's dirty. That's where a lot of food poisoning comes from. Yeah.
Do you eat chicken raw?
I don't eat chicken, I don't eat pork. So chicken and pigs are omnivores, just like us. They can basically survive on anything. So that's true. Humans can eat pretty much anything and survive. And sadly, a lot of farmers or a lot of big corporations, they take advantage of that, giving pigs especially, but also chicken, low quality food, garbage food, and all this garbage gets incorporated into their tissues. Maybe a pig or a wild boar roaming free in a nature reserve, that would be great meat. But the pigs that we get nowadays from factory farms, they have all kinds of issues. They're full of antibiotics, just like the chicken. And with beef, that's not really an issue. That's not really the case. I once read the study that in general, non-organic chicken and beef, 83% of all chicken was full of antibiotics, but only 35% of all beef had antibiotics in them. And of course, when someone buys organic beef or organic chicken, that's a non-issue. But even then, when we eat organic chicken or organic pigs, they feed them a lot of corn, a lot of soy, a lot of these grains. And a lot of these grains, especially when it's a staple of the diet of these animals, is very inflammatory. They contain a lot of omega-6, and that omega-6 get into their fat tissue. And then when we eat it, we're also having this high amount of omega-6, which is very inflammatory. That's why people say you need to consume more omega-3. You get your omega-3s from fish. Not necessarily because those omega-3s are so good by itself, because they balance out the omega-6s in your diet.
What about fish? Do you eat fish?
No. One of the main reasons I don't eat fish is because we polluted the ocean so much. They're full of heavy metals, full of plastics especially, and it all accumulates in the fish, especially the bigger ones. If I had to eat fish, then I would eat sardines of the very small fish. The bigger fish who eat smaller fish, they have more of a concentration of all these toxins in their flesh.
When was the last time you ate fish?
The last time I ate fish, I might have been 2 years, 3 years.
So you after you started your beef only diet, you did have fish once.
Yes, maybe some restaurant in Costa Rica. There's no beef. There's nothing else.
Sure.
Something like that. Yeah.
And like cooked?
I had it cooked, probably on the grill.
Probably on the grill.
Sardines.
Okay. You're on death row.
Okay.
They're gonna kill you.
Okay.
Okay. You got your last meal. One meal, and then we go to the chair. Okay. What meal are you having?
That's a very good question. As you're asking me this question, I'm wondering now, would I even have a meal? One thing that I've noticed since I eat beef a lot is I'm almost never hungry. I don't really eat because I'm hungry. I eat because I want to keep gaining weight, keep gaining muscle mass. So if I'm on death row and they're about to kill me, I guess if I did not get a meal, they're going to kill me right then. So at least I get another hour. So then I would probably ask them for beef liver as a staple. So there we go again. Beef testicle. And maybe I would ask for an obscure organ. Maybe it'll take them longer to find it. So what would that be? Thymus is easy to find in Argentinian restaurants. It's called mollejas in Spanish.
I don't understand what this is. What is this?
Thymus.
What's
thymus
thymus?
gland. It's an organ that supposedly produces a lot of hormones. It helps with boosting the immune system. I'm trying to think of an organ that I've never had before.
Why is thymus very hard to get?
I've noticed only Argentinian restaurants have thymus. It's small. So if only Argentinian restaurants can find it, and not even all of them, that's the first one that came to mind, that it seems to be a little harder to get. So maybe that will give me an extra day on death row.
So here's the thing. You can eat anything in the world. It doesn't matter. Fuck your health. Doesn't matter. You're going to die, right? Doesn't matter. You can have pizza, pasta, ice cream, right?
It's a good one.
You're going to die.
It's good that you bring up ice cream. I know there's an interesting thing with ice cream. So ice cream, again, if we find our own ice cream and make our own, like an ancient recipe, it's very healthy. It has eggs, egg yolks, heavy cream, milk, all kinds of good things. When we buy ice cream in the grocery store, we have all these ingredients, right? So you're right, I'm gonna die, doesn't matter anymore. But I noticed another thing about ice cream. I noticed ice cream tastes better if I eat it with someone. If there's someone around me that I like and we're eating ice cream together, or even just me, but I'm in company. So I don't really think or know that ice cream would be like, yeah, I'm enjoying this ice cream by myself on death row as my last meal. And people are like, oh yeah, that guy who only eats beef, his last meal was ice cream, loser. So no, I think I would just stick to what I like and what I'm eating now. I honestly like eating this way. I would definitely have frozen grapes.
Of course, that's frozen grapes the best. You would still have your current diet.
And to be honest, mollejas, especially actually made on the grill, so not raw, they're delicious.
Okay.
So I would have them grilled, the mollejas, for
So
sure.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for your health benefits or anything. You're gonna die. You'd still keep the same diet because that's what you enjoy.
And now, as a spin-off of what I said about the ice cream, I'm now remembering the last few times I had mollejas. Again, I was with really good friends in a nice setting. So imagine I'm on death row, I'm about to die. I'm having the same meal that I had with them years ago.
Yeah.
Bringing me back
Yeah.
to that glorious time.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want that?
Incredible. Incredible. You know, we're going to Thailand together soon.
Yes.
I'm excited for that.
Very much.
I'm very excited for that. We've got a private jet too.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to be my first time.
First time on a private jet.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. No, I've been like 4 or 5 times, but it's still exciting every time.
Okay.
What are you going to do for food?
What I'm going to do?
What are you going to do for food?
I'm sure I can find raw beef.
Oh, of
Thailand.
course. Thailand is somewhere you can find anything.
Yes. In Bangkok especially, there's this online shop called Bangkok's Bob, if I remember correctly. They have a lot of good grass-fed, grass-finished beef imported from Australia. They have liver, heart, all those things. So, yeah.
Got ya.
All the things.
Have you been to Australia?
Never.
Have you been to South Africa?
Yes, several times.
Okay.
Many times.
Best beef.
Yes,
Yeah.
excellent beef. There's one butcher called Bryside Butcher. Do you
Yeah.
know it?
Yeah.
That's
of
where I
course.
ordered all my
Yeah.
meat from. Bone marrow, delicious
Yeah.
brain. They have it all.
Try Australia as well. Go to Australia. It's beautiful, the beef we have there. What about eggs? Talk to me about eggs. Do you eat eggs?
I usually don't eat eggs. Now, this morning when I was in that small Carrefour Express, I did see organic eggs, and I bought a whole bunch because at first I couldn't find the raw beef, and there are actually no raw beef there. I only found lamb, so I bought that as well. To me, eggs are a little bit of nature's multivitamin. I would almost put it up there together with beef liver. Although with eggs, I've never noticed any like boost or mental clarity opening up as I did with beef liver. Same thing as with the chicken is a lot of the chicken, they don't really feed them that well. So again, if they give them a lot of soy and corn, all those fatty acids, the omega-6 fatty acids will be in the egg. So usually I don't eat eggs. I have at one point in my life eating about 40 egg yolks a day. I did that for 2 months. It was
Raw.
kind of like an experiment, drinking them raw with a little bit of lime juice.
Wow.
And I didn't notice any extra advantages, definitely no disadvantages. It was an easy way to keep my calories up because you can just drink them. When you drink your calories, it's easier to consume a lot of calories. Yeah.
What do you do for fitness? You go to the gym?
I lift weights about 3, 4, 5 times a week, depending on where I'm traveling, what I have access to. I also do calisthenics. None of the advanced tricks, but I pull my own weight.
Yeah. So no cardio?
I do no cardio, except for let's say 1 to 2 boxing classes a week in private with my coach. And the interesting thing is, apparently my cardio is out of this world.
Well, of course it would be.
People have compared me to top athletes, professional athletes. I think it's the liver.
Yeah.
Do you know about the liver study with rats?
No.
So there's this study done in the 1950s. They had 3 groups of rats. The first group received their regular rat chow and additional B vitamins and other vitamins. The second group received the same thing as the first group and some additional more fancy vitamins. And the third group just received regular rat chow, and 10% of their diet was beef liver. And then they all threw them in a water tank to swim until they die from exhaustion. So the first group, the average swim time of all the rats was 13.3 minutes until they drowned. Second group, 13.4, not even statistically significant of a difference with the first group. Can you guess how long the rats in the third group swim?
Tell me.
Throw out a small guess.
18 seconds.
18 seconds more.
Yeah.
There was one rat who swam for 63 minutes, another one 83, another one 89, and the other 9 rats were still swimming after 2 hours.
Oh my God.
Yes. Now some people say, well, the rats in the first 2 groups, they received regular rat chow. We don't know what it was in the 50s, but it's probably deficient in iron or very low in iron. Still, I still believe that liver has a really huge part to play in cardio, because I have no explanation why my cardio is so good. And there's another fact. For example, name me any predator on earth.
A lion.
Lions, tigers, another predator, wolves, orcas, hawks. All these animals, when they catch their prey, what's the first thing they eat?
The liver.
Yes, liver.
Orcas. Orcas just eat the liver.
There you
Nothing
go.
else.
Exactly, they're smart. Liver, then heart, then testicles. That means all the animals who didn't do that, they didn't procreate, they didn't survive. They weren't strong enough.
So the first thing they eat is the liver, the second thing they eat is the heart,
Yes,
and the third thing they eat is the testicles.
yes. I think it also depends if they want to mate or not. So they might switch up the order with the heart and the testicles.
Yeah.
If the animal wants to mate, they'll go for testicles first, but definitely liver first.
Definitely liver first. Oh, they all
So
do liver first.
So it's
yeah.
in nature. It's a law of nature to eat liver first.
If you like this video, consider subscribing. We do weekly podcasts with experts in every industry to help you find direction and guide you on your way. Now let's get back into it. Are you a religious man?
I would say spiritual, definitely. Religious, as a child I was. It's coming back now. I really enjoy watching the reels that I Am the Warner makes. Talks a lot about Jesus, talks a lot about Islam. As a child, when I was in my teens, I went to Catholic church every single Sunday. Then when I turned 18, I got out of the habit. And a few years ago, mainly after my grandfather died, my grandmother, she really, how do I put this? It really hurt her in a way that she was a little disappointed in everything, and the religion and God. And I like now that I can lead her back. I said, no, of course there's a God. And in fact, I heard this via, so I don't know exactly, but I heard a lot of biologists are convinced and are very religious or spiritual because they're like, the way everything works, this is by design. This cannot just happen over millions of years of evolution. Something happened here to make everything this perfect. Yeah.
What's your, with religion, we're not perfect. Jesus wasn't perfect. Mm-hmm. We all have sins. You obviously don't indulge in the sin of gluttony or overeating or anything like that. You eat for health purposes only. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite sin?
My favorite sin? I would say it's a sin in itself to say we have a favorite sin, right?
It's just true.
Mm-hmm. There are 10 sins, right? Or 7? There's 7 sins.
I think so, 7, yeah.
I wouldn't even know which ones they're all of them. The one thing I tell people sometimes, do not think about what you don't want. Like, I'm driving, I want to park my car. There's going to be no parking spots. I'm like, why do you say something that you don't want? Focus on what you do want. I'm going to arrive, there's going to be 5 parking spots. It's going to be so easy to park.
Yeah.
So,
and also there's visualizing it.
Yes. So in this way, you're making me think about sins. Like, I rather think about living a good life, a rewarding life, a life that provides value to other people, a life in which I can help other people, a life of purpose. So if I'm thinking now about the sins, which one is the sins and which one is the favorite one, I don't want to plant that seed in my mind. Then now maybe 2-3 weeks from now, that's going to be my favorite sin. I'll be doing it all the time. I'm definitely not a man without sin. I'm sure there's moments, like just the other day, my assistant was laughing at someone who, like at the airport, probably didn't sleep well. Their hair was all over the place. And as she laughed, I also started laughing. And I was thinking, well, I'm laughing at another person. That's not really nice. So I don't know what the name of that sin is, but that's something that happened recently. Yeah. I mean, did the person even know? Did I really hurt that person in the moment? No, but I was thinking, like, this is not really nice to laugh with someone. But it was also like something very silly. I mean, I've been in moments that my hair is all over the place. I look at myself in the mirror, I start laughing. So there you go.
I guess the reason behind that question is because you're such a man with discipline, and not many people can do what you do.
Thank you.
And I want to know, what's that one thing that makes you human? What's that weakness that you have? You can say, look, I'm a womanizer. That's probably my sin. Or I like to swear, or I like to do this, or I like to do that. Like, is there something that I want to know your weakness?
In my 20s, womanizing was a huge part. Drinking alcohol was a huge part. I really enjoyed drinking alcohol. I really enjoyed being with women. But I noticed that was never really fulfilling. Learning new things is fulfilling. And I was just lucky enough to learn about biohacking, learn about health. And now I go down these rabbit holes and I know these things. I'm like, now I know how this works, like to a deeper level, even the deeper level that we discussed. Some of the biohackers online, the scientists, they explained it really deeply. I don't really memorize it so I can explain it to someone else. But in my mind, I have this thing like, I can't do this now anymore. I can't partake in this knowing how bad it is for me, because I actually like feeling great. As a young boy growing up, there was a lot of things that I didn't like about myself. The hearing impairment, had no empathy for people, so it's hard to relate to people, hard to connect with people. Also had a lot of balancing issues all the way up into my 20s. I remember I was in a bus in Lima, Peru with my friends just talking. All of a sudden I almost fall over, almost kick someone in the face because I can't keep my leg down. Like, what's wrong with me? So this actually drove me forward to be just as good as other people. And maybe that's where the discipline comes from. Like, I want to perform well. And when life throws you a curveball or something happens, something serious, like people in your family dying, you want to be strong for when it's needed so you can help other people, or even just help yourself so you don't fall apart. I've noticed many times, like you go to an event, maybe it's a physical event like an obstacle course for 2 days with little sleep and no food, or it's getting in the ring and boxing with someone and then realizing, wow, I'm so glad I prepared for this. I'm so glad I was so strict and disciplined. Now it's easy, and not necessarily easy in the moment, but afterwards, like, oh, I was able to do this. Everything I do in my life is like a preparation for this moment. Without that, I'm actually preparing for it. I'm just living my life.
That's the most perfect way to do it. You have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. There's two ways I've seen people take care of their families. One is I devote my life to you. Anything you want, Mom, you want to go to doctors? I'll come pick you up. I'll take you to doctors. You don't have any Coke in the fridge? I'll go and get Coke for you from the fridge. What do you need? You need this from the pharmacy? I'll go and get it for you. But you're not working on yourself. Or you go work on yourself. You build yourself. And then you take care of them financially or anything like that. I pay my parents a salary every week, and I had to abandon them for 10 years or maybe 8 years. I was like, not abandon them, but don't, I know you need emotional support. I don't have time. I know you need this right now. I don't have time. But now they're all both retired. And, my dad, I have to get him out of the poor mind state still, because we grew up poor. And the money that I pay him, I pay him every week. If he doesn't spend it, he doesn't get the money next week. So it forces him to spend.
Wow.
Because he's like, hold on to it, because I've got that poor mentality of maybe I won't have it tomorrow. So I'm trying to break that out of his brain and saying, oh, did you spend it? No, you didn't? Okay, you're not getting it next week. And then a couple of times that happens, now he's forced to spend it. Now, how do you spend, $2,000? I pay him $2,000 a week, right? How do you spend that? He's got trips booked until 1 year's time. I booked Korea in December. I booked this and that. Like, I got to spend it. Oh, I don't get it next week.
Yes.
So that's how I force him to
beautiful, brother.
to do it. Yeah, thank you. But that's I think the best way to do it. I've seen people do it that way and this way, and this is much better to build yourself first and then support others. Yesterday I had a busy day. I had meetings and things like this, and I went to the mall to pick up for another meeting, and I was hungry. And I saw a Five Guys. You know what a Five Guys is? The burger joint.
Yes.
And I was so hungry that I just didn't even think. I just went and had a burger. And I haven't had a burger in a long time. And it was delicious, obviously, but it ruined the rest of the day. In the meeting, I was like this. I was just falling asleep, right? The inflammation in my body and everything was just coming up. I couldn't focus, and I kept drinking coffee to wake up. 2, 3. Maybe I had lots of energy, but my brain was dead. I had energy, but my brain was dead. I couldn't think. How do you avoid that?
Can I ask you something?
Tell me.
What was the best part of the burger?
For me, the caramelized onions.
Okay. The second best part, what was that?
The meat.
Okay. If I would tell you that you would just have the onions and the meat, it's very likely, depends how much sugar they put in the caramelized onions, but it's very likely you might have not had that crash. That's the first thing I noticed, going without vegetables, without bread, and just focusing on meat. There was no afternoon crash anymore. So a lot of people, they fast because they want to have that mental clarity. I say, well, if you eat just beef, you don't even have to fast. You will retain that mental clarity. So you can have even 2 or 3 burgers next time. Go for it.
And Keep
And
your mental
I-
clarity.
And do keep in mind the caramelized onions. I don't know the recipe for that, but I assume there's sugar in that sauce. So if there's sugar in that sauce, that might still lead to a crash. But the crash is mostly the other sauces, the bun especially.
The bun.
The bun, that's
That's the worst. That's the
Get rid
worst.
of the bun.
Yeah, that's the worst. You're right. So what? Okay, I think it was the bread that crashed me. Right, there was definitely that. Do you fast?
Usually I fast every day for about 10 to 16 hours, depending on the day.
Yeah.
I usually stop eating around 4, 5, or 6 p.m. so that I have a lot of hours before I go to bed that I have no food in me. I sleep better that way. And also whenever I travel, which it's about once a month, once every 2 months, that whole time I'm traveling, I usually don't eat at all. So I'll go there for about anywhere between 20 to 36 hours of no food. Sometimes I might even go 30 hours without water as well. Just do a dry fast the whole time I'm traveling.
Wow.
That's actually really good for not having jet lag wherever you go. Like, because with your, in German, they call it the Zeitgeber. The Zeitgeber is something that tells the body what time it is. So a big Zeitgeber is actually food and also workouts. So by going to a new time zone and just not eating while you travel there, and the next day that you wake up in the time zone, you start eating at your usual time zone, your usual time, whatever that time is, 9, 10, 11 a.m., your body will be like, oh, this is the correct time because now food is coming in. That helps a lot. Another thing that I've noticed that's really good for jet lag or not having a jet lag is actually witnessing a sunset or a sunrise.
Wow.
I usually do sun gazing, so about up to 1 hour after sunrise and up to 1 hour before sunset, we are, as humans, are able to watch into the look into the sun without any eye damage.
Wow.
So people, they watch the sunrise, they watch the sunset, and when we look into the sun at that time, the brain is really being told, like, this is the appropriate time to wake up, this is the appropriate time to go to bed, because the wavelengths, the frequencies of the light, they tell us a lot. They tell our brains a lot about what time it actually is where we are. So I noticed this first when I came back to Belgium after being in South America for a while. The next day, me and my friend, we woke up at like 4 a.m. We were gonna go hiking in the woods, and around 5:50 or so, the sun came up and we witnessed the whole sunrise. The next day at exactly 5:51, I woke up wide awake, like an alarm clock.
Wow. So you tuned your brain
Yes.
for that.
And since then, I've been adamant about watching sunrises, watching sunsets whenever I can, anywhere I am.
Where do you live?
I don't actually live anywhere at the moment. I've just spent about 7 months in Colombia. I usually spend anywhere between 2 to 5, 6 months in Colombia per year, and the rest of the time I usually travel in Europe, all over Europe. I was born and raised in Belgium. I still visit there, mostly to visit my grandmother, and now I'm in Dubai.
Okay, so you're going to move to Dubai?
No. So a thing that I used to tell people if they ask me where I live, I say I live wherever my suitcase is or my red light. I actually travel with a red light in my suitcase.
No way.
And every morning, after waking up, about an hour after waking up, doing my morning routine, I shine the red light on my genitals for about 15 to 25 minutes, 20 minutes. This supposedly raises testosterone or keeps it at a good level. And red light, in fact, anywhere you shine it, it will increase the working or the efficiency of that organ, because red light increases the efficiency of the mitochondria that produce the energy in a cell. So red light is actually an amazing thing. When people ask me what is it good for, I say absolutely everything, because it makes your cells work more efficiently. Basically, wherever your body can use some help, the red light will help boost that area. It will improve mood, it will help people sleep better, raise testosterone, whatever it is, increase collagen production in the skin. It's one of my favorite biohacks.
What does this thing look like? What is red light? How are you able to...
So it's like a rectangle box filled with LED lights that shine infrared and near-infrared light. You just flip it on and it actually is quite strong. So at night when the sun sets, I don't turn on any other artificial lights, only this red light, and it lights up the whole Airbnb.
Wow.
It's very good quality. I've been traveling with it for 4 years straight. ever since the lockdowns.
And it doesn't get damaged or anything.
It's all scraped up. It fell over many times. Still works like new.
It's in a square shape?
Rectangle.
Rectangle shape.
It's about this size.
Okay, got ya. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I might try that. So, you know, lately I've been waking up, but my brain hasn't been waking up. It's been taking a long time for my brain to wake up. What do you think that could be from?
What time do you go to bed?
I go to bed at around 11 to 12, and I wake up about 6 or 7.
Okay.
That's my issue. My issue is, doesn't matter if I go to bed at 3 a.m., I still wake up at 6 or 7.
That's actually good.
Is it?
You have a strong circadian rhythm.
I always wake up in the morning,
That's good. That's good.
but I want to get 8 hours sleep.
Of course. And what's your sleep routine like? Like, what do you do the last 2 hours before you go to bed?
On my phone. On my phone. Even in bed, on my phone.
Ooh. Yes, so the body, there's a couple of things. What's the last time you eat? The last bite that you have?
It'll probably be 2 to 3 hours before bed.
Okay, that's great. Have you ever tried putting a blue light blocking filter on your phone?
No.
So, you know when people are in a dark room and they are on their phones and you see how their whole face lit up from that light? So there's a thing called blue light. There's nothing really wrong with blue light. There's a lot of blue light in the sun as well, in the sunlight spectrum during the day. So when we look at our phones at night and we have this full spectrum of blue light, our brain thinks, oh, it's 3 in the afternoon. Look how bright this light is. Now, if you put a blue light blocking filter on it and dim the light a bit, then it's more like a red glow, orange glow, like a sunset. That helped me a lot in the very beginning also. I was even using blue light blocking glasses because, okay, you can block the blue light on your phone, but if all the lights in your home are on and they're very bright, that is also going to wake you up.
Sure.
And the second thing that comes to mind is our bodies, in many ways, we train our bodies. So for example, if we have a desk and the only thing we do at this desk is study, then our body will be very efficient sitting at that desk. So we actually never want to use our bed for any other things than sleeping or maybe sexual activity. And the rest of the time, especially being on the phone in bed, now the body's like, oh, are we sleeping? Or are we supposed to stay awake and alert so we can do all these tasks on the phone? So it would really help if you not have your phone in the bedroom, or definitely not be on your phone in the bedroom.
I'll try that tonight. Tonight, what I'll do, actually I got a flight early, so I might have to, but I'll try that where I will sit on the couch and be on my phone, and then I'll go straight to bed and go to bed.
Amazing.
And I'll let you know how it goes. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I will. I'll let you know how it goes. It's amazing because you're so interested in all these things, and there's so many studies that it's so obvious that you go out of your way to read these studies. It's not like you went to university and you learned the biohacking, whatever. It's just something you're clearly passionate about.
It is.
And you're really read into the studies and seeing what, you know, what supplements do you take?
Nowadays, so in 2020, I ran an experiment. I had a whole suitcase filled with supplements. Kid you not, like 20 kg suitcase full of supplements. Tried all of them, and to a certain extent, all of them work, but the only ones that I still use now is NAC, N-acetylcysteine. This is a very good supplement that increases the detoxification pathway of the liver, so it increases glutathione, which is like the master antioxidant, breaking down all kinds of pollutants that we're come in contact with day to day, like, for example, brake dust from tires, tire particles, flame retardants that are in living rooms, on furniture and everything. And glutathione helps to detoxify that. I only take this at night. So during the daytime, I don't want to blunt the inflammatory response, for example, that I get from exercise. You know, you get exhausted, you break down your muscle when you work out. So I want the body to rebuild the muscle at night. So that's when I take the antioxidant. And another one I take every now and then, like let's say about 3 or 4 times a year, if I need to be in peak mental condition or peak physical condition. It's called methylene blue. Methylene blue is actually a synthetic compound that they invented, if I'm not mistaken, about 200 years ago. It was first used as an anti-malaria drug. This is also a supplement that, just like red light, increases the efficiency of the mitochondria. So I noticed when I take Methylene Blue, I don't feel like a pick-me-up like from coffee, but I notice that things are easier. Like if someone shows me how to run a gun that I have never managed before, or for example, I'm learning how to do a handstand. When I take Methylene Blue, everything's just a little smoother, a little easier, without thinking. You don't feel like you're thinking, it's just smooth. Another one I still take is, well, I take my beef organ supplements when I have them with me. But yeah, nowadays I don't take that many supplements anymore. One of the reasons I also laid off most of the supplements, I noticed when I work out with people, when I either is boxing or doing anything that combines power with endurance, I'm pretty well ahead. And I noticed if I leave the supplements aside, my performance doesn't really go down. So the only one that I still take is NAC for detoxification. The other ones, I'm like, well, I guess I don't need them. I guess liver really fills in the gaps.
You know, one of the biggest reasons I stopped drinking was because I did a blood test and I had fatty liver. I had a bit of fatty, and it was just because it was just back-to-back partying for like 2 weeks. I had friends in town and that's all they wanted to do, and I was drinking at the time, so I was, you know, going with them. And then 1 week later I did a blood test, so it was just right after that bender, and it's fine now. But what's the best way to detox the liver and repair the liver?
I would say eat liver and take NAC. Those two will do a lot. Okay, and now we're gonna get into the fringe a little bit. Have you ever heard about a coffee enema?
No, what's that?
Do you know what an enema is?
No.
So an enema is actually the cleansing of the colon with a liquid, usually water, done in laboratory or clinical settings. Now there's such a thing as a coffee enema where you just take regular coffee. You can, of course, you don't want it to be hot. You make sure it's room temperature. You dilute it. The first time I did a coffee enema, I used 250 milliliters of liquid. So you have a normal coffee and you dilute the coffee with some water. And then you basically insert the coffee in your colon. You lay on your right side, so the coffee hits a certain nerve, which then stimulates the liver to produce more glutathione. And you lay there for about 15 minutes, anything between 12 minutes to 20 minutes. And then you go to the bathroom and do your business.
So you drink it?
No. You insert it in your colon, exactly, rectally. So the first time I did it, like, am I going to kill myself? I'm going to do something like I'm going to mess myself up. The reason why I did it is I heard some biohackers talk about it. One biohacker specifically, Ben Greenfield, he really explains things very deeply. And he was very convinced about this, and he uses himself. And I was thinking, well, it's free. People think about stem cell therapy, this and that, all these expensive gadgets or procedures. And I'm thinking a coffee enema is basically free. A coffee is, 50 cents if you make it yourselves. So I'm like, I have to at least try this. And I remember the first time I took a coffee enema, and it was hard to put my finger on it. I was like, everything somehow is better. Especially like thinking, very clear thinking. But it wasn't until 2 years ago that I was 100% convinced. So before I did coffee enemas regularly per week, and it was always when people ask me like, why do you do them? Like, it just seems like it's doing something. Can't put my finger on it. Then 2 years ago, I was in Poland, and it was hay fever season. And already since like 10 years, I try not to come to Europe during hay fever season because I have it pretty bad. Now I arrive in Poland, first day it's fine, but over time, like over the next 5, 6, 7 days, my hay fever symptoms just worse and worse. And I'm thinking, hay fever, or basically anything that's a pollutant or a toxin, glutathione can help. How do I increase glutathione? Supposedly with a coffee enema, it increases 800%.
Wow.
So I gotta try. And before I tried vitamin C, MSM, I even tried some over-the-counter medication, which had a lot of horrible side effects. None of them really worked thoroughly, and none of them really worked long, like longer than 2-3 hours. I do the coffee enema, 15 minutes in, all symptoms completely gone. My nose is completely clear. My tears are not itchy or crying. This is amazing. And then it worked for 5 hours, 6 hours to its full extent before slowly the symptoms started to creep up again. And so I started doing 2 coffee enemas a day. So I got covered for 10 hours. And I noticed every single time I did them worked instantly work very efficiently, strongly, and lasted a long time. Better than any medication.
Wow.
So now for me, that's an N=1 study. This to me proves that this works.
Incredible. If you're an animal, what animal would you be?
Wolf.
You'd be a wolf. You've thought about this.
I've thought about it, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like the animal that I look at a wolf, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's me.
That would be
A wolf hunts in packs.
Yeah.
I like to be with my brothers,
Yeah.
hunting stuff together.
Yeah. Have you gone hunting?
Never gone hunting. With hunting, I mean it like a metaphor for life.
Sure.
Reaching our goals together, pushing each other, helping each other to reach the common goal, which is take down the prey.
You travel around. You live out of a suitcase. How do you make money?
Well, I'm fortunate enough to have a really good friend that basically runs my businesses. He's the CEO of the businesses. We've been working together for about almost 10 years now. I'd say 7, 8 years. And yeah, he does the day-to-day. He's an excellent manager and leader. He motivates all the employees and runs the business smoothly.
So that business runs and pays
Yes.
you a weekly salary or
Exactly.
whatever it is. Yeah, beautiful. If you were, I think, a cartoon character, you'd be Tarzan. Honestly.
Thank you, bro.
You'd be Tarzan for sure. You're just calisthenics, you know what I mean? All that stuff.
The long hair.
Yeah, long hair. You'd definitely be able to. I wouldn't survive a day in the forest. Or,
You would, because we're together.
If we're together, listen, it's all good. I'll make the hammock. Don't worry, I'll make the hammock. Okay, so you mentioned watermelon before. I've heard mixed things about watermelon. The high sugar, everything like that. Tell me why you drink. You drink watermelon. You blend it, or you drink it, or you eat it. Why watermelon?
I've noticed when I eat watermelon, it's not that favorable on my gut if I eat a lot. I've noticed when I juice the watermelon, which is what my assistant does, I can drink liters. And it's excellent. I have no side effects. It doesn't cause a sugar crash for me. Also, when people say high sugar content, I'm always wondering also, what do they eat that has higher sugar content? Because, for example, a watermelon, last time I looked, 100 milliliters of watermelon juice has only about, like, I want to say 15 grams of sugar. Any cereal you buy in the supermarket, any sort of bar has at least 30 grams of sugar per 100 grams. So watermelon is not that high in sugar. Sure, it's sweet, but mostly has a lot of water. Like watermelon also for the signal of abundance. Usually it's big. I just noticed the story with me and watermelon is actually a few years ago, I was in the desert of Colombia, in a small town called Riohacha, close to the border with Venezuela. And me and my friend, who's an acro yoga teacher, we would go to the market every morning where they were butchering goats. So every morning we're getting goat, which is kind of lean, and every day we'd be eating goat meat. And back then I wasn't eating that much carbs, I wasn't eating that much fruit. And I actually could literally see how my muscle was becoming smaller as I wasn't really that hungry, and the goat meat was kind of lean, so I'm not really that inclined to eat more. It's not fatty like beef. The fattier it is, I notice the easier it is to eat a lot. And every day when we go to the market, we're passing these huge shacks where they're selling hundreds of watermelon. And then one day I just stopped, bought a watermelon. I think I ate 1.5 huge watermelons by myself. And it just signaled this moment of realization, like, yeah, why don't I eat this? Why don't I eat more fruit? There's nothing wrong with this, because this signals this feeling of abundance. And ever since I've been a fan of watermelon, and maybe it symbolizes to me that realization, like there's nothing wrong with fruit. Fruit's high in sugar, but it's not the same as just having cereals or candy or cookies or cake. There's the combination of all these things together that don't really do our bodies any favor. Fruit, we've been evolving with fruit from thousands of years ago. So it wouldn't be the cornerstone of a diet, beef is, but I feel like it's the dessert, definitely. It's the icing on the cake.
Because my dad loves watermelon. Like he will smash a watermelon every 2 days. His whole life he has breakfast. He has watermelon for breakfast, a little bit of feta cheese and bread. That's all he has for breakfast. Right? He travels twice a day. He trains twice a day. Loves the gym, stuff like that. And people always tell him it's high sugar. It's a lot of sugar, but he just keeps smashing a watermelon every 2 days.
It's also very good for the arteries because it contains citrulline, which in the body is converted into L-arginine, and it's a vasodilator.
Yeah.
So everything's like
I see.
how do you say that?
Yeah,
So it
you-
really gets the blood flowing everywhere.
Yeah.
Also in the bedroom, if necessary, it can provide a boost there as well.
Really, watermelon.
Yes, especially when you eat more of the rind, that part. Yeah.
If there's somebody not waking up with erections and wants to boost their testosterone and their libido, what's the quick fix that they can do?
Pomegranate juice.
Really? Pomegranate juice.
Yes. The ancient Egyptians called it the elixir of life.
And how quickly does it kick in? Or it's not like that.
I would say-
it's a daily thing you got to add into your diet.
When it comes to the erections, it could kick in like within an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And if you drink pomegranate juice daily, you will notice. Yeah.
Really?
Now it's always in your system if you
Yeah.
have it every day.
Yeah. But it would not the ones at the store.
A lot of store-bought pomegranate juice, what they do is it says pomegranate juice, and then you look at the label and it's apple juice, all these other juices. You want to have a 100% pure, unadulterated pomegranate juice. I go for organic, but for the erection effects, you don't even need organic. Just 100% pure pomegranate juice will do the trick.
We'll do the trick.
Yeah.
But from the shop, it's hard. From the shop, it's hard, right? Because it's all syrup and stuff like that.
Yes, exactly.
You
So
gotta
look
do
at the
yourself.
ingredients. You basically want only one ingredient. The more ingredients you see on the label, the more it's
Yeah.
like, this is not the real thing.
Yeah, I see. Okay. You know, when I had a fatty liver, they said to me, don't have cold drinks and don't have ice. What they used to do back in the old days is when they would make a big pot of stew, they used to throw ice in the stew, and all the fat, all the oil would harden up, and by hand they would pick out all the fat. They're saying if you have a fatty liver, do not drink cold drinks or anything icy because it's bad for your liver, or the fat, because obviously the liver processes everything you eat, or the fat that goes in there becomes hard and harder for the liver to digest and to break down. Is there any truth to that? Have you heard of this?
I've never heard of this.
They said don't have anything cold for the liver. And I was thinking, what do you mean? It's just temperature. Why does it make a difference?
Sounds a little hard to believe to me.
Could
right?
you investigate that? And our next
will.
podcast we do,
We will.
let me know what your opinion was on that, because it was very hard for me to believe. But then when my dad said to me in the old days they used to put ice in stew and all the oil would become hard and they would take all the fat out, I was like, maybe that makes sense, because if you make the liver cold, it's harder to break down the fat.
I have heard about people saying, when you drink cold drinks, the first thing your body wants to do is increase the temperature of this drink. So now it's going to use energy there. But going that far to say that now the liver can't do its job, it's a little hard to believe, but I definitely will investigate.
Ivo, you're my brother.
Thank you, my
I
brother.
appreciate you. I'm so grateful to meet you,
Me too, likewise, brother.
and I can't wait to do this again with you and see you in
Yes.
Thailand, my brother. Let's
Yes,
go. We
let's
got
go.
Thailand in like a week or so.
Yes.
All right, this has been Ivo. Thank you.
Thank
my
you,
brother.
brother.
Come back anytime.